Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
Yeah.
Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon. We'll hear from The Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. Of course, most of you homemakers listening in know how deliciously good margarine can be today. But some of you may not have used margarine as a spread for bread for a good many years. Well, if that's the case, you're going to be pleasantly surprised when you taste Parquet margarine, the margarine that's made by Kraft. That's because Parquet margarine is really different from the margarines of a few years back. First, Parquet's flavor is pretty certain to please. It's so delicate and wholesome, so deliciously good. You'll be delighted with Parquet as a spread for bread or rolls, yes, and for baking and pan frying, too. Second, unlike old-time margarines, Parquet margarine is a reliable year-round source of vitamin A because every pound contains 9,000 units of this important vitamin. And besides, Parquet is an excellent energy food. So try economical Parquet margarine in your household and find out how extra good it is yourself. Just ask your food dealer for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Now, on to Summerfield and the Great Gildersleeve. Saturday afternoon finds him in a flurry of preparation for the expected visit of his old friends, Fibber McGee and Molly. For hours, he's been running up and down stairs, issuing orders and countermanding them, and now he pauses to light a well-earned cigar and snatch a moment's respite from the labor of supervising Bertie.
Well, Bertie, how do we stand? Has that roast of beef turned up yet?
No, sir. I phoned the market, and they said the boy left with about a half hour ago. Maybe he's been hijacked.
Yeah. Well, we'll give him a few more minutes. How about the sleeping arrangements?
I did like Miss Marjorie said. I'm giving Miss McGee your room.
That's right.
And Mr. McGee gets the den. I hope he'll be comfortable.
He doesn't have to be comfortable. That guy can sleep standing up. What about me? Where do I go?
Well, you sort of get the sewing room, Mr. Gildersleeve.
I knew it, the sewing room. I'll be on pins and needles all night.
Oh, no, sir. I got you all fixed up snug there on Leroy's folding camp cot.
Yeah, the last time I camped on that cot, it folded all right. You remember?
Well, I got it fixed up now, Mr. Gildersleeve. I got it tied up with some string.
Oh, fine. I'll sleep like a baby.
Yes, sir.
I'll bet I'll be asleep before my head hits the floor. Marjorie, is that you?
It's me, Unc. Marjorie's coming. She's outside talking to some guy that brought her home from the plant.
How was the movie? Bertie, take this book upstairs with you when you go, will you?
Yes, sir.
I saw a white cargo. It's about this guy.
Oh, good. Put that book on the table next to the bed, Bertie. Mrs. McGee might want to read before she goes to sleep.
It's about this guy goes to Africa, and he runs into Hedy Lamarr down there mooching around the jungle.
Yep.
So the heat begins to get him. Only I forgot to tell you, Walter Pigeon is there. He's running the camp. That's Mr. Miniver, only in this picture his name is Witzel.
Oh, hello, my dear.
Are they here yet? So Witzel says to this new guy...
Not yet. Their train's due in about a half an hour.
So Witzel says to this guy... Witzel, that's Walter Pigeon.
Leroy, I haven't got time to listen to all that now.
Well, you asked me how was the movie.
I'll be more careful next time. Well, you're early, Marjorie.
I got a ride, so I didn't have to wait for the bus. We picked up Leroy just as he was coming out of the theater.
Yeah, tell him who picked you up. Marjorie's got a new fella.
Nobody picked me up, and I have not.
That's no way to talk about your sister, young man.
One of the men from the plant very kindly offered to drive me home, that's all. He was on his way.
Yeah, Mike, she calls him.
That just happens to be his name.
She's only been there working there a week, and already it's Mike. Hiya, Mike. Hiya, baby.
Come on, now, don't you listen to him. It's very nice, though, really. He works in the drafting department.
Oh, well, that's fine.
He's a draftsman, all right. If you ask me, he's got designs on our nail.
Leroy, you mind your own business. I've got something to say to both of you.
Yes, Uncle Mort?
When Mr. McGee arrives this afternoon, there are two things I want you to be careful not to do. In the first place, I don't want you to make any reference to Fibber's size.
What about it?
Well, he's a little runt, and like all little runts, he's sort of sensitive about it. That's why he's so pugnacious.
Oh, I wouldn't say anything, Uncle Mort.
Well, I know you wouldn't, my dear, but I'm not so sure about Leroy.
What did I say? Did I say anything about him being a runt? You're the one who brought it up.
Well, just don't, that's all. Actually, he's not so small anyway. It's just that he's not as big as he thinks he is. He has the mind of a small man, that's all. Always carrying a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, we'll be careful, Uncle Mort.
And another thing, and this applies to both of you. I'd rather you didn't say anything about my engagement to Mrs. Ransom.
Oh, but the McGee's are your friends, Uncle Mort. They'll be offended.
We're not announcing the engagement just yet, my dear. We're keeping it a secret.
Mrs. Ransom isn't. I heard her talking to Mrs. Pettibone down at the grocery.
We're not announcing it to McGee, and that's final, Leroy. Because if I know McGee, he'll start making cracks. If he makes any cracks about Lila, I'll punch him in the nose. And if I do that, Molly will be upset, and if she's upset, it'll spoil the whole weekend. That's what you get for inviting McGee anyway.
Oh, now wait. He hasn't even arrived yet. He hasn't had a chance to open his mouth.
If I know McGee, his mouth is open right this minute. You'll see, he'll arrive here in the middle of a sentence. Nobody will be able to get a word in all weekend. If he ever finds out about me and Leela, he'll be like a Scotty with a bone.
Oh, Uncle Mort, you're being silly.
Well, he isn't going to come in here as my guest and bandy so-called witticisms at my expense. I'm not going to give him the satisfaction. So just keep the whole thing dark, if you don't mind. Come on, it's time to go get him.
Can I go, Unc?
No, Leroy. There's something else I want you to do.
What's that?
I want you, in the interests of peace, to go out in the garage, get the lawnmower, and hide it. Well, this is it, folks. It's no palace, but it's home to me. What do you think of it, Molly?
Oh, it's a lovely place, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yeah, nice hunk of property you got here, Gildy.
100-foot front by 175 deep.
Well, that ought to give you room to spread out. And I can see that you have.
What was that, little chum?
McGee, watch it.
Hey, Throcky, who lives next door there?
Next door? Oh, some woman. I forget her name.
Mrs. Ransom.
Oh, yes. Is that it?
She's a widow.
Oh, so?
Widow woman, eh? Give you much trouble?
No.
As a matter of fact...
Marjorie, suppose you run in and ask Leroy to come out and help with the bags. That's a good girl.
You know, I think nice neighbors make all the difference in the world.
So do bad ones. We had one once who borrowed our lawnmower and kept it so long he finally had to leave town. And he took the lawnmower with him.
McGee, if you come all the way to Summerfield to open up old wounds...
You want me, Unc?
Oh, yes. Come here, my boy.
Well, this must be little Leroy.
Yes. Leroy, I want you to meet Mrs. McGee, a very dear friend of mine.
How do you do?
My, he's a fine-looking lad, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, and this is Mr. McGee.
Hi, Bud. Gosh, I had no idea you were such a big kid.
Gosh, I had no idea you were so big either.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you're not such a little runt. Unc told me that...
Leroy!
I'm just building him up, Unc.
Well, cut it out.
Never mind him, Leroy. You eat your oatmeal and cod liver oil regularly, someday you may be as big and fat as your uncle.
Are you kidding?
None of your impudence, young man.
Now, Gildersleeve, the boy meant no harm. He's plainly the victim of an unfortunate environment, that's all.
Well, let's go inside, shall we, where the environment is warmer.
Oh, yes, by all means. Leroy, you go get the bags out of the car. By George, I tell you folks, it's wonderful to have you here. This is just like old times.
Oh, it's good to be here, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Let me take your coat, Mrs. McGee.
Oh, thank you.
Where'll I put mine, Trocky?
Well, I'll take it. Just hang it up here in the hall closet.
McGee,
What, Molly?
you see that closet? That's what I mean.
Oh, sure, anybody can keep a closet clean if they don't use it.
Mrs. McGee, if you'd like to come upstairs, I'll show the room you're to have.
Oh, thank you, dearie. I would like to freshen up a little before dinner.
Dinner's in about a half an hour, everybody.
Hey, where do these bags go?
Mr. McGee's bag goes in the den, and Mrs. McGee's goes up in my room. Here, I'll take it up to her.
Hey, Sonny, is there any place around here where a fellow could buy a toothbrush? I came off without one, as usual.
Well, sure, there's a drugstore right down the street about 3 blocks.
Good, I may run down there a little later. Well, what have you been doing with yourself all day?
I went to the movies this afternoon. White Cargo, have you seen it?
No, that's one I missed.
Well, this guy goes to Africa, and he can't stand the heat. So he and Walter Pigeon get mad at each other, and Walter Pigeon says, "You'll quit." And he says, "I will not." So he goes off by himself and plays the phonograph, and then he...
Well, look, On second thought, maybe I better go right now and get that toothbrush.
Wait on. I'm just getting to where Hedy Lamarr comes in.
Oh, well, I'll wait for that.
Well, he's playing his phonograph there, and it's getting all dark and spooky, and he looks out the door, and all of a sudden, what does he see?
Hedy Lamarr.
Yeah, only you'd never know her.
Huh?
She's got a sort of a thing around her, and she comes in like this. Look, you're Walter Pigeon, and I'm Hedy Lamarr.
Well, if you're Hedy Lamarr, I guess I can pass for Walter Pigeon. Shoot the plot to me, Tot.
Well, she slides around the edge of the door like this, and she says, I am Tandaleo.
Well, look, Roundaleo. I've got to run down to the corner and get a toothbrush.
Hey, wait!
I'll be right back.
Well, this is the best part. Witzel comes in and catches her.
Good night, Mr. Peavy.
Good night. And now, what can I do for you, sir?
I'd like to buy a toothbrush.
A toothbrush? Did you have any particular kind of toothbrush in mind?
Yes, something I could brush my teeth with. As a matter of fact, I don't really need a toothbrush. I've got one at home, but I came away without it.
Well, none of it's perfect. You say you're a stranger in town?
I didn't say so, but I am. McGee's my name. I'm staying up the street here.
Oh, pleased to make your acquaintance, Mr. McGee. My name is Peavy. Anytime I can be of service, only too glad.
Thanks. I'd like to buy a toothbrush.
Any particular kind? Oh, I asked you that, didn't I?
Yes.
Well, I have a number of varieties. I have them in red, green, white, small, medium, large.
Now, give me a red one.
And then they come in the nylon bristle, the exton bristle, the proton bristle, and they're just plain bristles.
Look, Bud, I just want a toothbrush. I want to brush my teeth.
Well, here's a nice brush.
I'll take that one.
Well, I don't want you to feel I'm high-pressuring you. It's just...
Wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Will there be anything else?
No, that's... Oh, wait a minute. Seems to me Molly did mention something. Oh, I know. We're spending the weekend with a fellow up the street here, and I'd like to get a little something for him as a gift.
What type of gentleman is he?
Oh, he's a big, fat blowhard. Doesn't do much of anything but eat, sleep, and brag.
I've got something here that I think Mr. Gildersleeve would like.
Oh. You know him?
Oh, yes, he's in here almost every day.
Oh.
And I think if you really want to surprise him, a nice package of bubble bath would do the trick.
Gildersleeve in a bubble bath? Boy, he'd look like a blimp coming out of a cloud.
Well, of course, it wouldn't make much of a wedding gift if that's what you have in mind.
Wedding gift? For Gildersleeve?
Haven't you heard? He's engaged to marry his next-door neighbor, Mrs. Ransom.
Frocky, engaged?
Yes.
Oh, tell me more. What'd you say her name was?
Mrs. Ransom. Leela Ransom. Widow.
Oh, the widow next door. Uh-huh. The one he said he never met. Didn't even know her name. The big fake. What's she like?
Well, she's a southern lady. Very well preserved.
Oh, boy. Let me at him. Here, what do I owe you?
That'll be 77 cents.
Cheapest toothbrush I ever bought. Well, so long, Bud, and many thanks.
Jungle and catches Hetty slipping him the poison.
Heavenly day.
Leroy, that'll be quite enough now.
Oh, now, don't discourage the boy, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Discourage him. I only wish I knew how.
Hi, folks.
McGee, where on earth have you been?
Oh, just down at the corner.
Say, you look like the cat that swallowed the canary. Do you know that you've kept dinner waiting 15 minutes?
Oh, that's perfectly all right. Leroy, run out and tell Bertie she can serve at any time now, will you?
McGee, have you washed? McGee, what's got into you?
Yes, what are you looking at?
Hi, Rocky.
Yeah.
Hello. How's every little thing? How are you feeling?
I feel all right. Why?
Everything under control?
Certainly.
What do you hear from Lulu?
Lulu? Who's Lulu?
McGee, what on earth are you
When are we going to meet her, Rocky?
Meet who?
The Queen of Sheba, Scarlett O'Hara, that widow you're going to marry.
Mary? Mr. Gildersleeve?
Leroy?
Honest, Unc, I didn't say a thing.
Marjorie?
Not a peep, Uncle Mort, I swear.
If you knew Lulu like I know
Her name is not Lulu.
No?
No, it's Leela.
Leela.
Lee is in leave her out of this, and La is in lots of people get a punch in the nose. That's just what you're going to get if you ever so much as...
Why, you big bumbling balloon. Come over here and I'll let the air out.
You muscle-bound midget.
McGee. Dinner! Saved by the bell.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. You know, especially in times like these, it's smart to be economical. But when it comes to food buying, it's important to be wisely economical. To be sure that the economy foods you buy fulfill the requirements of good nutrition. Now, one food that's both economical and highly nutritious is wholesome Parquet margarine, the delicious spread for bread made by Kraft. Parquet margarine, you know, is one of the kinds of foods recommended in our government's nutrition food rules. That's because Parquet is so nourishing, having both food energy and important vitamin A. And what's more, Parquet helps provide these essential food elements in so many ways. It's a delicious spread for bread or toast or rolls. It's a tasty seasoning for hot vegetables. It's a real flavor shortening for baking, and it's grand for pan frying, too. Yes, in all these ways, Parquet margarine adds delicious nourishment to meals. So tomorrow, ask your food dealer for Parquet, Parkay, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. And now, what of the great Gildersleeve? Well, it's Sunday morning, and the great man has come down to enjoy his usual outsize Sunday breakfast. He walks into the dining room sniffing the air like a bird dog in a hot scent.
That's funny. The stuff must be here, but I can't smell it. Bertie?
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Where's breakfast?
Why, Mr. Gildersleeve, Miss Marjorie told me y'all would wait until Mr. and Miss McGee came down.
I never heard of such a thing. Marjorie?
For goodness sake, Uncle Mort, now be quiet. Think of our guests.
I am thinking of them. I'm thinking, why don't they get up?
Oh, the idea. Anyone would think you hadn't eaten for a month.
That's exactly the way I feel. And when I think of that little termite McGee, probably lying up there in bed right now, just on purpose to keep me from my breakfast. Who's that?
I'll go. Well, good morning, Judge.
Oh, Hooker, come right in. I'm glad to see you.
I can't stay, but I've heard the news from Leela Ransom, and as your ex-rival, I simply wish to tender my congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Judge.
After thinking it over, Throckmorton, I feel sure that Leela's heart has guided her to the right choice.
Oh, you think so, eh? Well, I hope so. By the way, I'm giving a little party for Leela this afternoon. I hope you can come, Horace.
I'd love to. I hope you'll make Leela very happy, Gildy.
Well, I'll try.
Fine. Throckmorton, have you given Leela any kind of token?
Token?
Well, as a symbol of your plighted troth. It's customary, you know, to give the lady
Hooker, are you trying to peddle a second-hand engagement ring?
No, certainly not.
Then what are you talking about?
It's not second-hand. Leela's never even seen it. This ring has never encircled a human finger.
Then why don't you take it back to the jeweler?
Well, for sentimental reasons, I wanted you to have it. Besides, I had Leela's name put on it.
Oh, well, what'd you pay for it?
$75.
I'll give you 50.
It's robbery, but I'll take it.
Well, I want to see it first.
Well, here it is.
Oh, that's quite a flash. Wait a minute. What's this inside of it, this inscription?
Oh, yes.
To Leela from Cuddles.
No, I forgot to mention that.
Hooker, did Leela Ransom ever call you Cuddles?
No, Gildy, but I just hope she'd learn to.
Well, obviously the ring is of no use to me, but I'll give you $25 for it.
$25?
$25, Judge. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. But what are you going to do about the inscription?
Well, if I play my cards right, she might learn to call me Cuddles.
Yoo-hoo, anybody around? Hey, don't tell me I'm the first one up.
First one up, your clavicle. I've been up for 3 hours. I waited breakfast for you till 10 o'clock. I'll tell Bertie you're ready.
Oh, I've had breakfast, if that's what you mean.
You've had it?
Yeah, had breakfast in bed.
You...
I tell you, it was quite a treat. Things ain't like that around Wistful Vista.
Things ain't like that around here either. Bertie!
Yes?
Why don't I ever get breakfast in bed?
Because breakfast is the only thing that gets you out of bed, Mr. Gildersleeve. Well, maybe when you're married, Mr. Gildersleeve, things will be different.
Yeah. You'll have to toe the mark then, Throcky. By the way, when are we going to meet Lulu?
The name is Leela.
Oh, excuse me. When are we going to get a gander at her? What's the matter? You're not ashamed of her, are you?
Look here, McGee. You're not even fit to...
Boys, so early in the morning?
Oh, good morning, Mrs. McGee. I'm just telling my little chum here I can't wait to have you meet Leela.
Well, we can't wait either, Mr. Gildersleeve.
That's no lie.
Yeah. She's coming over this afternoon for tea, and I'm having one or two others in. Judge Hooker.
Oh, how are you and the judge getting along these days?
Well, we have our ups and downs. Some days I think he's our purest little jurist, and others I think he's a stench to the bench.
You know, I'm very anxious to meet him, too. He sounds like such fun.
Yeah, more fun than a goat. McGee, what do you say to a little constitutional before lunch?
A little what?
A little constitutional, a little walk.
On foot?
Why, sure. I'd like to take you out and show you the reservoir.
Go on, McGee, to do you good.
How far is it?
Oh, only about 4 miles.
Are you kidding?
McGee, I want you to keep away from Leroy for the rest of the morning.
Well, this is quite an occasion, Everybody here now but the guest of honor. Where's Leela, Gildy?
Leela, oh, she'll be along any minute, Judge.
You know, Judge, I've heard a lot about you from our friend Gildersleeve here.
Have you? I've heard a lot about you, too, Mr. McGee.
Well, I'll tell you what he said about you if you'll tell me what he said about me.
McGee, you're a guest here.
I've never said anything behind your back, little chum, that I haven't said to your face.
Oh, so that's the way you talk about me behind my back.
Oh, wait a minute, folks. That must be Leela.
I'll go on.
Hey, never mind, Leroy. I'll open it.
Don't bother, Uncle.
Leroy, you hurt me.
Okay.
You know, I can't wait to meet her. Just think, McGee. Mr. Gildersleeve in love.
Yeah, staggers the imagination. Boy, they're taking long enough. Wonder what's going on out there.
McGee, you stay right here.
No, I just thought maybe he needed some help.
He doesn't need any help.
Okay.
Quiet, here they come.
Hey, looks like Gildy done all right for himself. Wonder what he used for bait.
Leela, darling, you know most of these people.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Leela.
Oh, Marjorie, honey, I love your dress.
Thank you.
Hello, Leroy.
Hello, Mrs. Ransom.
Leroy, my dear, I want you to meet some old friends of mine.
We're not that old.
Mr. and Mrs. McGee from Wistful Vista. This is Leela.
Oh, I'm just thrilled to meet y'all. Throckmorton's told me so much about you. I reckon you must think I'm just terrible carrying him off like this.
Dearie, I think it's the finest thing that ever happened to him. And I want to be the first to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Isn't that nice?
Well, McGee, aren't you going to congratulate Leela?
Why should I congratulate her? It's Gildersleeve that ought to be congratulated.
Oh, you're just sweet-talking me now, Mr. McGee.
Oh, shucks, sis. Just call me Fibber.
Mr. Gildersleeve, excuse me. Could you come out in the kitchen for a minute?
Oh, certainly, Bertie. Will you excuse me, folks? Go right on talking. What's wrong now, Bertie?
You know, I just can't get over Mr. Gildersleeve after all the years we've known him falling in love. Tell us, dearie, now that it's all over, how did he propose to you?
Yeah, did he get down on his knees? And if he did, who helped him up?
McGee. Now, this is just between us women.
Well, it was terribly romantic and all. It was in the evening, and he came with a beautiful bunch of roses.
You hear that, dearie? Roses he brought her.
What's the matter? I bought you some roses a couple of anniversaries ago.
Well, I just wanted you to make a note of it.
Oh.
Go on, dear.
Well, I remember I just happened to be wearing a gown that he particularly liked, a flowered chiffon, very tight through here with a long flowing skirt. I'd been planning to spend the evening with a good book.
Go on, you'll get plenty of time for that later.
Well, we were standing there together arranging the flowers, and all of a sudden, right out of the blue, he said, well, I don't know that he'd like me telling you, but he said, what would you do if I was to steal a little kiss?
Oh, my God. Is that corny?
Keep out of this, McGee. You don't understand. And then what?
Well, naturally, I tried my utmost to discourage him, but seemed like he just refused to take no for an answer. Oh, not only that, he started to chase me around the room. Throckmorton, I couldn't understand it.
Look, Leela, when did you first begin to suspect that something was cooking?
When he sang to me, just a little love, a little kiss.
Just a little love. Just a little.
Is everybody happy? What's going on, folks? What's the big joke?
Nothing, Mr. Gildersleeve, nothing at all. McGee, go on outside till you can control yourself. Go on, get out of here.
If I hear any more, I'll bite. Leroy, show me where I get a glass of water, will you?
Right out here.
Leela, what's wrong with McGee?
I don't know, Throckmorton. I was just telling them about our engagement and how you proposed to me, and all of a sudden something seemed to strike him funny.
Leela, is nothing sacred to you?
Now, Mr. Gildersleeve, don't be blaming her.
Is our romance nothing but a farce to be torn to tatters for the amusement of the mob?
Oh, no, Throckmorton.
Am I nothing to you but a laughing stock?
Oh, no.
Well, that's the impression I seem to get.
Now, listen, don't be blaming it on her, Mr. Gildersleeve. Blame it on McGee.
Huh?
And now, listen, remember, every proposal is sweet to the woman who hears it.
Isn't that a fact? Tell me, Mrs. McGee, how did Mr. McGee propose to you?
McGee? Well, dearie, McGee proposed in a leaky canoe.
Yes. Yes?
Which he had to paddle with his mandolin because he lost the paddle.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the song he sang to me was Pretty Red Wing.
Yeah, Pretty Red Wing.
Hey, this Summerfield water tastes a little funny, doesn't it, Gildy?
It does not. You can say what you want to about me, McGee, but Summerfield has the finest water in the country.
McGee, stop picking fights. You've made enough trouble already.
Who's picking fights? I just made a simple observation, that's all.
Well, you're a bad boy. Come over here.
What you want?
I want you to apologize to Mr. Gildersleeve. Go on, tell him you're sorry you hurt his feelings.
Okay. Throcky, old chum, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right, McGee.
I know you're sensitive, and it's only natural. I want to take this opportunity to say that where you're concerned, old chum, there's only one thing in this world I want.
Oh, what's that?
Just a little love, a little...
All right, McGee. All the moon shines tonight on Pretty Red Well, it's certainly been nice having you folks here, Mrs. McGee.
Well, it's been nice being here, Mr. Gildersleeve, and meeting Marjorie and little Leroy and Leela and all. I think Leela's going to make you very happy.
Yeah, Throcky, she seems like a mighty nice gal.
Well, I'm glad you both liked her.
Well, goodbye, old chum. Thanks for the use of the den.
Oh, yes, I hope you were very comfortable there.
Oh, it was fine, but there's just one thing I'd suggest, Throcky.
Huh?
If you go to take a shower there, be careful.
Why?
You might cut your feet on my lawnmower.
Oh! Leroy!
Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night. Yeah.
Fibber McGee and Molly appeared on this program through the courtesy of the makers of Johnson's Wax. Original music was composed and conducted by Billy Mills. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the makers of Kraft Cheese and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Six o'clock, Mother's late. That means the family will have to wait for dinner. But they won't wait long if Mother's smart and knows the 7-minute way to make macaroni and cheese. The trick is performed with a product called Kraft Dinner. Yes, folks, that amazing food product called Kraft Dinner gives you delicious macaroni and cheese in just 7 minutes cooking time. A package of Kraft Dinner contains a special kind of macaroni that cooks up fluffy and tender extra fast. And the Kraft Dinner package also holds some Kraft Grated. This Kraft Grated, sprinkled through and through the macaroni, gives it good cheese flavor in a twinkling. No time used up preparing a cheese sauce or baking the macaroni either. Keep Kraft Dinner handy for luncheon or dinner emergencies. And folks, you can help your dealer with this problem of keeping in stock by ordering Kraft Dinner early in the week. This program reached you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. We'll hear from The Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. As you homemakers surely know, keeping a family well fed these days is no snap job, especially if you have a tight budget to contend with. But there are highly nutritious foods that are economical, too. And one of these foods certainly is wholesome parquet margarine, the delicious, nourishing spread for bread made by Kraft. You see, parquet margarine is an economical source of important food elements. It's one of the best energy foods you can serve. And besides, it's a reliable year-round source of vitamin A because summer and winter, every pound contains 9,000 units of this important vitamin. Now, parquet margarine is no ordinary margarine. Parquet margarine is made by Kraft to the same high standards as all of Kraft's fine foods. You'll find Parquet's quality is reflected in its delicate, appetizing flavor. So, for flavor, good nutrition, and economy, start serving Parquet margarine tomorrow. Yes, ask your food dealer for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Now let's join our friend, the Great Gildersleeve, whom we find approaching a milestone in his career. As water commissioner, he's been invited to make his first public address before a meeting of the Summerfield Women's Club. With the occasion only a few hours off and not a word of the speech written, time is getting a little short, and so is the great man's temper.
Come on. Where's breakfast? Where's my coffee?
It's coming, Uncle Mort.
Well, hurry it up. I need my coffee. I got to have my wits about me today.
What's the rush, Unc? It's only 7:30.
I got to get down to the office. I got a million things to do. Got to get a haircut. Got to write a speech. By the way, Marjorie, did you send my cutaway out to be pressed?
Did you want it pressed?
Oh, my goodness.
But you didn't say you were planning to wear your cutaway.
Well, I'm certainly not planning to address the women's club in my shorts.
Oh. Well, all right. Keep your shirt on. I'll have Bertie send your cutaway out this morning.
Oh, and see that she gets it back. I got to have it back here by this evening.
I know.
I don't know what comes over women. They want you to make a speech, and they don't let you know till the day afterwards.
Maybe they were hoping they'd get somebody else.
Oh, thank you, Leroy. Thank you very much.
That's no way to talk.
Well, I don't see what you're so steamed up about anyway, Unc. After all, it's just a bunch of dames.
Not dames, young man, ladies. Besides, this is my first speech. It may be very important to me. Why, it's likely to be written up in the newspaper.
Yeah, the Indicator. Who reads that? Hasn't even got skeezicks in it.
Skeezicks. Well, there's no telling what this speech may lead to, young man. After all, it's no small honor to be singled out of all the prominent people in this town to address the women's club. Is it, my dear?
I think it's wonderful, and Leroy shall be very proud.
There. Bertie! Oh, where is that woman?
She's trying to hurry, Uncle Mort.
Always remember, young man, I may be only water commissioner of this town now, but William McKinley was a water commissioner once, and he ended up in the White House. Remember that.
You want something, Mr. Gildersleeve?
The coffee. Where is it, Bertie? I've got just half an hour to get to the White House. I mean the office.
Coffee's on the fire, Mr. Gildersleeve, but it seems like the water just don't want to boil this morning. Must be something wrong.
Yeah, something wrong with your alarm clock, Bertie. Well, I've got to go.
Won't be but a minute, Mr. Gildersleeve. Soon as the water boils.
I haven't got time to sit around here waiting for water to boil. Who am I, James Watt?
No, William McKinley.
Very amusing, Leroy. Very amusing. Perhaps it would amuse you further to go down and clean out the furnace. I didn't get time to do that this morning. Where's my briefcase?
But, Uncle Mort, you can't go off without breakfast.
No time. I've got a speech to make.
Here's your briefcase. Button up your coat.
Thanks. I've got to hurry. Have I got everything? Where's my hat?
On your head.
Oh, pretty late. I guess I better drive down.
Shall I back the car off here, Unc, shall I?
Yes, do that. No. Don't ask me that again.
But I can do it, Unc.
I told you what you can do. Clean out the furnace.
Oh, about the car, Uncle Mort.
Yes? What about the car?
I had to drive it to the plant yesterday. I missed the bus. You may find it a little low on gas.
How low?
Well, I couldn't start it last night.
This is a fine time to tell me. Oh, that's women for you. Get up in the morning, no coffee, have to make a speech, no cutaway, start to work, no gas. I can see there's only one way I'm going to get anywhere today.
What's that?
No women. Well, I was going down to the office to write my speech for tonight. You heard about my speech.
Oh, yes, and I just know it's going to be wonderful, Throckmorton. Think of me being engaged to such an important man. But what I ran over for, have you seen the paper?
Paper? No, I haven't had time.
Well, I won't keep you but a minute, but there's something in it I think will interest you.
Don't tell me they printed my picture.
No, this is in the ads. Throckmorton, I know we weren't planning to get married for a while, but Hogan Brothers is having a sale of dining room suites.
Oh, well, that's fine. Maybe we ought to look into that some other time. Oh, my goodness, I got to be going now, Leela.
Well, I know you're terribly busy and all, but I thought if we just went down there this morning and looked, we wouldn't have to buy anything.
I'd love to, Leela, but I got to get at this speech.
Well, of course, if an old speech means more to you than I do.
Oh, now, don't say that.
I'm just trying to make a home for you, but if you care more for the women's club...
I'll do it, Leela. I'll tell you what, I'll do it the first thing tomorrow.
Oh, I wouldn't think of asking you to do it now, Throckmorton. I guess I can find others.
Others? But Leela...
No, you had your chance. Now just run along. You have more important things to do. Go on and do them.
But if you just listen...
Goodbye, Throckmorton.
Goodbye. What's a fellow going to do? First they...
Throckmorton.
What?
Are you going to run off without even kissing me goodbye?
Huh? Oh, goodbye, Leela. Goodbye, honey.
Goodbye, Throckmorton. Write a nice speech.
If I can ever get at it.
Well, what can I do for you today, Mr. Commissioner?
Oh, just a haircut, Floyd. Make it a good one.
That's the only kind we sell.
I'm addressing the women's club this evening, so I'd like to look my best.
Don't you worry. By the time you leave here, you look like Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Well, Floyd, did you ever have one of those days when women just seem to get in your hair?
Did I?
Now, you take this morning. I got up...
This morning? Take last night. I come home tired from work, and what do I find? No dinner. Wife got in just ahead of me, been out playing bridge all afternoon. Well, it was dearie this and dearie that, and you sit down and I'll warm you up some nice supper. By the way, I knew she'd lost. $1.15 to be exact. Well, it wasn't $1.15. It's the idea, you know. Guy comes home tired from work. What does he find? No dinner. Wife's been out playing bridge all afternoon. Is that any kind of a life for a man, I ask you?
Well, in my own case, it's a little different.
Sure, it's the same with all of us. Man comes home at night, all he wants is a little peace and quiet. What does he get? No dinner and a lot of talk. I don't know what it is about women. Now, you take me. I'm not exactly the silent type. I'll pass the time of day with anybody. Never too busy to say hello. But there's times when I just like to sit and think, you know?
This wouldn't be one of the times, would it?
After all, it wasn't the $1.15. I told her, I said, it's not the $1.15. It's the idea of a guy comes home at night. What does he get? No dinner. Oh, hello, Judge.
Morning, Floyd. Getting a haircut, Gildy?
No, an autobiography. Make it snappy, will you, Floyd? I've got to get down to the office.
Right with you, Judge. Got to get Mr. Gildersleeve in the pink. He's addressing the women's club tonight.
Oh, are you, Gildy? So am I.
They didn't tell me you were speaking, Judge.
Well, they didn't tell me you were. As a matter of fact, they were planning to have Tim Abernathy, but he dropped out. I guess they put you in the last minute.
Oh, is that so?
But don't let it worry you, though. Ever made a speech before, Gildy?
No.
Well, nothing to it. Only thing to remember is don't get nervous.
Who's nervous?
There's one other thing you have to remember.
What's that?
The speech.
Yes. Haven't even written it yet.
Well, what's worrying you? Have you got a topic?
Certainly I've got a topic. Water in the war. What's worrying me is how to begin it. Once I get on water, I'm on solid ground.
Well, there's one simple rule. It works like a charm.
What's that?
Always start your speech off with a good story. Do that, and you'll have the meeting out of your hand.
Well, thanks for the tip, Horace.
Never fails. I've seen it work in my own courtroom. Why, some of my verdicts have been greeted with actual applause.
The judge has got the right idea. Send them up with a smile.
Well, all I need now is a joke. Anybody know jokes?
Oh, sure. A fella came in here just the other day, told me a nifty. Maybe you heard it. It's about this guy went down to his draft board and, oh, but you couldn't use that at the women's club.
Yeah, you have to be sure your joke is one that women will understand.
Oh, they'd understand this one, all right.
I'll tell you what you do, Gildy. Go to the library and get out Comerford's Compendium of Wit and Wisdom. It's got a story to fit every occasion.
Comerford's Compendium?
That's right.
Horace, you're a lifesaver. To tell you the truth, I am a little nervous.
Why, you're not going to let yourself be flustered by a few women, are you?
Oh, speaking of women, I was telling Mr. Gildersleeve, I come home last night from work, and what do I find?
Oh, my goodness, I've got to go. Let me out of here, Floyd.
You don't want any tonic?
I haven't got time. Here's your money. Don't let me interrupt your story, though. Tell the judge about last night, Floyd. Don't miss this, Judge. You'll love it.
Imagine anybody named Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve. This must be it, though. It says water department on the door. It's locked.
Maybe this is him coming.
Well, good morning.
Hello, honey.
You young ladies waiting to get in here?
I think so. Are you Mr. Gildersleeve?
That's right.
Did you advertise for a secretary?
Yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. I forgot all about that. All three of you?
Yes. I have a letter.
Fine. Come in the office, won't you? Oh, the door's locked. Of course, silly of me. I locked it myself. See if I can find the key here now. Sorry to keep you waiting out here. As a matter of fact, I've been over at the library. We usually open here promptly at 9. There we are. Go ahead. After you.
Thank you.
Sit down, won't you? All of you. Well, I can see this is going to be a difficult choice. If you're all as talented and efficient as you are, let's get down to business. I suppose I ought to ask you some questions, but I'd like to try something on you first. Incidentally, this may give me some idea of whether you have a sense of humor or not. Because I think a sense of humor is very important in a secretary, don't you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's one thing my mother always says. She says to me, Bessie, don't you care what they say. At least you've got a sense of humor.
Oh, good. Well, I've been working on a speech here. A man in my position has got to make a lot of speeches, you know, and I have rather an amusing story that I tell at the beginning of my speech. If you don't mind, I'll read it to you. See if you think it's funny. I'd like to get a woman's reaction.
I love stories.
That's fine. I say, Madam President, ladies, fellow speakers, I note that I have been scheduled to speak this evening on the topic, water and the war. That's not the joke yet. Speaking of water, I am reminded of a seafaring man who, while traveling in the West Indies, purchased an expensive parrot as a present for his wife. Not yet. When he returned from his voyage, he inquired, "Well, dear, how is the bird I sent you?" To which she replied, "It was the toughest bird I ever ate." "My goodness," exclaimed the sailor. "Don't tell me you ate that bird. He was a very intelligent parrot. He could speak in 17 languages. "Well," replied the wife, "why didn't he say something?" Hello, Leela. Just telling a little story.
I hope I'm not intruding.
Intruding? Oh, not at all. Come in. These young ladies were very kindly helping me with my speech.
How nice.
Honest, they were.
Well, aren't you going to introduce us?
Well, I don't really know their names, as a matter of fact. I just found them here when I arrived this morning. I mean, they were waiting for me. Weren't you, girls?
Yes, my name's Irene.
Mine is Ethel.
My name's Bessie.
Oh, yes. Ethel, Irene, and Bessie.
Yes, how do you do?
My real name's Elizabeth, but my friends call me Bessie.
Her real name's Elizabeth, but her friends call her Bessie. Look, girls, I wonder if I could ask you to come back a little later, after lunch.
Sure. Be glad to.
Oh, gracious, don't let me stand in the way of your taking them to lunch, Throckmorton.
Now, Leela, don't you misunderstand. Please, girls, after lunch.
See you later, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Leela?
Yes, Throckmorton?
Leela, say something. Don't just stand there and look at me like that. I can explain, Leela. It's not what it looks like. I was just trying to hire a secretary. Well, don't you believe me?
Oh, yes, I believe you.
Then what are you crying about?
'Cause I'm such a problem to you, Throckmorton. I don't want to be, but I am.
Oh, you're not a problem at all, darling. You're sweet.
No, I'm not. You're sweet. You're sweet and I'm awful.
No, you're not. You're not a bit awful.
Yes, I am. I'll come down here when you've got this big, long speech to write and everything. And all I do is interrupt you and ask you to go to Hogan's with me and look at furniture.
Yeah, now. You don't want to feel that way about it. It's all right. I don't mind.
Don't you?
No.
You mean you'll do it?
Do what?
Go to Hogan's with me and look at furniture?
Oh, all right.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few seconds. You know, I take my hat off to you homemakers who have the knack of taking simple, everyday foods and making something pretty special out of them. That's an important knack to have these days, too. Well, here's a tip. You can add extra flavor to all kinds of foods with wholesome, economical Parquet margarine, the delicious, nourishing spread for bread made by Kraft. You see, the delicate, appetizing flavor that makes Parquet margarine such a delicious spread for bread makes it grand for cooking, too. Yes, let Parquet melt over hot vegetables to make them extra tasty. Use Parquet as a flavor shortening when you bake cookies or cakes and pie crusts. And use Parquet for pan frying. It makes pan-fried foods taste better because it tastes so good itself. And besides, Parquet margarine adds nourishment to meals. It's an excellent energy food that helps provide important vitamin A. So get acquainted with delicious, economical Parquet margarine tomorrow. Just ask for Parquet. Parkay. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Now let's get back to the great Gildersleeve. After a tour of Hogan's furniture department and an afternoon spent interviewing secretaries, he's finally completed his speech and now can't wait to try it on somebody. And what better guinea pig than his old friend, the druggist?
Hello there, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh. Hello, Peavy.
And how can I best serve you this afternoon?
Peavy, come here. Do you enjoy hearing a good story?
Oh, I should say I do, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Now, don't get excited. I just want to know if you enjoy a humorous anecdote.
Oh, well, I do like a nice quiet chuckle now and then.
A quiet chuckle is not what I'm after. Now, I've got to address the Summerfield Women's Club tonight, and I'm going to start off with a funny story.
You are?
Yes.
Well, Mrs. Peavy will be there to hear you.
Good.
She enjoys a humorous story, too, although you might not expect it of her. Her laughter is of the silent variety.
Tell her to sit near the back, will you? What I came in here for, Peavy, was to tell you my opening anecdote. I think you'll like it.
Oh, I'd like to hear it.
All right. It goes like this. I am reminded of the seafaring man who, while traveling in the West Indies, purchased an expensive parrot and sent it home to his wife as a present. When he returned from his voyage, he inquired, "How is that bird I sent you?" His wife replied, "It was the toughest bird I ever ate." "My goodness," exclaimed the sailor, "don't tell me you ate that bird. He was a very intelligent parrot and could speak 17 languages. "Well," replied the wife, "why didn't he say something?" "Well," replied the wife, "why didn't he say something?" "Well,
why didn't he say something?"
Peavy, telling a joke to you is like hollering it down a rain barrel. You have no sense of humor.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I heard an amusing little thing just the other day.
By George, I'd like to hear it. What was it?
Well, I don't know whether it was what the fellow said or the way he said it, but it certainly tickled my funny bone.
It must have been uproarious.
Well, no, I wouldn't say it was uproarious. You might not think it was funny at all.
Funny or not, Peavy, I can't wait all night for it. What was it?
Well, the fellow was in here talking about a certain judge in Summerfield.
Yeah. Hooker?
Well, I wouldn't want to say, Mr. Gildersleeve, professional ethics.
Yes.
But this fellow asked why Judge Hooker got two hats.
Yeah.
And I said, why? And he said, one is to wear and the other is to talk through.
That's all right, Peavy. It's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Gildersleeve. I thought it was pretty good myself.
It's not that good, but I'm politer than you are. Goodbye.
Hold your chin up, Uncle Mort. There.
Is it tied?
Perfect. Now, let me look at you. You look very distinguished. I think the women's club is going to be crazy about you.
You're going to be crazy about the women's club, too, Unc.
Why? What do you know about the women's club?
I sold ice cream at their picnic last summer. What a bunch of harpies.
Boy, you're just making Uncle Mort nervous.
And that Mrs. Pettibone that runs it. Wait till he gets a load of her. She'd make anybody nervous.
Leroy, would you mind going someplace else?
I'm just trying to tell you what you're up against, Unc.
Well, don't. I don't want to know. I just want to get it over with. My stomach's upside down as it is.
Now, don't you worry, Uncle Mort. I'll be sitting right beside you. And if you forget your speech, well, I'll prompt you.
I'll forget my speech, all right. Maybe I ought to run through it once more before dinner, huh?
Yes, why don't you? I've got to go upstairs and dress, though. Maybe you could get Leroy to hear you.
Leroy, do you think you could sit still long enough?
Oh, sure. I'd like to hear it.
All right. You hold the speech. There. Now, let me see. How does it go? First, Mrs. Pettibone introduces me. She says so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Mr. Gildersleeve.
Hooray!
Wait a minute now. You've thrown me off, Leroy. Keep quiet, will you?
Okay.
After the applause dies down, I say, what do I say?
How do I know?
It's on the paper there, Stoop. Read it.
Oh, you say, Madam President, ladies?
Oh, yes. Madam President, ladies, and fellow speakers. I note that I am scheduled to speak this evening on the topic, water and the war. Speaking of water, I am reminded of the seafaring man who, while traveling in the West Indies, purchased an expensive parrot as a present for his wife.
Are you kidding?
What do you mean?
I heard that joke in the second grade.
Leroy, I'm trying to make a speech. It's not a very good speech, perhaps, but it's the only one I've got. And I have only from now till dinner time to learn it.
Well, I'm only trying to help you, Unc.
I don't want any help. It's too late for that. All I want is somebody who can shut up and listen.
I'm telling you, Unc, if you start off with that joke, they'll chase you out of there with sticks.
All right. William McKinley may have made a few bad speeches in his time, too. But he kept making them, and he got to be president.
Okay, Unc, have it your own way. Go ahead, I'm listening.
No, I won't let you hear it now.
Where are you going?
I'm going into the kitchen where I can at least get a civil audience.
My, don't you look nice, Mr. Gildersleeve. Dinner'll be ready in 2 shapes.
Bertie, have you got time to listen to a brief address?
A what?
An address. A short speech.
You gonna make a speech to me?
Yes.
Have I done something?
No, Bertie. I'm just trying to commit a speech to memory. I'd like to get somebody to hear me.
Oh, well, you go right ahead, Mr. Gildersleeve. It won't bother me.
Yeah, thank you. Madam President.
Oh, go on, Mr. Gildersleeve. I ain't no president.
Bertie, I'm addressing the president of the Women's Club. We're trying to.
Oh, excuse me.
Madam President, ladies, I note that I am scheduled to address you this evening on the subject water and the war.
Water? What if there's any water on them string beans?
Bertie, I'm trying to make a speech. Will you forget the beans?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Let's see, where was I? Oh, I'll skip the anecdote. Since the earliest times, water has always been a subject of vital interest to man, even in those... Bertie, I smell something burning.
Yes, it's them string beans.
Well, put some water on them.
But you said...
Never mind what I said. There's no use spoiling the supper.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's not perhaps generally known that it was in medieval times that water first came into general use for the purpose of washing. However...
excuse me, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, what is it now, Bertie?
Well, if we're going to have biscuits for supper, I got to put them in the oven.
Well, go ahead.
But you stand in front of it.
Oh. However, with the invention of the Roman aqueduct... Bertie, what kind of biscuits are those?
Raisin biscuits.
Where was I? Oh, water, fish. What else are we having?
Beef stew.
I thought I smelled beef stew. Let me see. Oh, look at that. Bertie, have you got a spoon there?
I could put a little on a plate for you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, no. Well, maybe just a little on a saucer. On a piece of bread.
Yes, sir. There you are.
Oh, my goodness. This is just what I needed.
What are you doing out here?
I just found out what's the matter with me, my dear. I'm not nervous. I'm hungry.
Well.
Come to think of it, I didn't have any lunch today. A little solid food in my stomach, and I'll be a regular silver-tongued orator. I'll go over there to that meeting, and I'll spellbind those women. When I get through with him, Hooker will wish he'd never been born.
And so, ladies, I feel I can truthfully say that now, more than ever, it is the husband's duty to show his wife special consideration.
Yeah, look at the old goat.
Your turn next, Uncle Mort.
In conclusion, I am reminded of the seafaring man who, while traveling in the West Indies, purchased a very expensive parrot and sent it to his wife as a present.
What's he... Hooker.
When he returned from his voyage, he said to her, how is that bird?
The bird? The old goat stole my story.
Well, it's just a story. Tell some other story.
What other story? I can't think of one. I can't even think of my speech now.
Intelligent parrot, and he could speak 17 languages.
17?
Well, replied the wife, why didn't he say something?
Oh, listen to that. I could have told it better. What am I going to do now?
Uncle Mort, couldn't you just skip the story and start in the middle?
I'd rather skip the whole speech. Can't we get out of here?
Thank you, Judge Hooker. Now, before we go on to the next speaker, is our finance chairman here tonight?
I'll kill Hooker for this.
Now, keep cool.
Isn't Mrs. Green here this evening?
Wait a minute. I can tell a joke on Hooker.
What?
I'll fix him. It's a little thing that Peavy got off this afternoon. Why does a politician have two hats? Yeah, fits Hooker perfectly, my dear.
Well, I'm afraid our finance chairman isn't here, but I've seen her report, so I can tell you the wonderful news. For the year 1942, the club had the smallest deficit since 1939.
I wish I had a drink of water.
You'll be all right as soon as you get up there.
Here we go. Now watch me give it to Hooker
Now,
now.
ladies, our last speaker of the evening. It is my pleasure to introduce one of the most important men in Summerfield's city administration, our water commissioner.
Well.
Mr. Gildersleeve is no ordinary politician. Incidentally, a politician, as you may have heard, is a man with two hats, one to wear and one to talk.
Throckmorton, you were marvelous.
Oh, Leela, I didn't even know you were here.
I didn't tell you I was coming because I didn't want you to be nervous.
Well, I was a little nervous as a start there.
Oh, I never would have known it in the world. I thought your speech was just wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It seemed to be well received.
I was terribly interested in the part about how those old Romans built their aqueducts and all.
Oh, well, I did a little research for that part.
And all that about the average rainfall. Oh, my, I thought that was very instructive.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm. But you know what I liked the best?
What?
That silly story Judge Hooker told about the parrot.
That old story, I heard it in the second grade. Come on, dear, let's go home. Good night, everybody. Yeah.
Original music heard on this program was composed and conducted by Billy Mills. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Men, you want your wife to save money, don't you? Well, then tell her about this thrifty, swell-eating main dish. The macaroni and cheese she can make with Kraft Dinner. One package of Kraft Dinner serves 4, and the cost is only a few cents per serving. And big news for your wife is this. Kraft Dinner cooks in just 7 minutes. She'll love the way the special Kraft Dinner macaroni cooks up so fluffy and tender in a jiffy. And how the Kraft Grated, which also comes in the package of Kraft Dinner, quickly gives the macaroni its delicious cheese flavor. Yes, sir, Kraft Dinner is a triple attraction. Downright good tasting, fast to make, and economical. So ask your wife to get some Kraft Dinner soon. It's wise for her to order it early in the week. That will help her food dealer with his supply problem. This program has reached you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve.
Yeah.
Kraft Cheese Company, who also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night, present each week at this time Harold Perry as the Great Gildersleeve, written by John Wheaton and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. You know, just about everybody is interested in good nutrition these days. The newspapers and magazines play up articles about vitamins, food energy, good nourishment in general. And, of course, better nutrition is more important than ever in wartime. So let's look at the nutrition facts about Parquet margarine, Kraft's delicious spread for bread that's an economical source of important food values. First, Parquet margarine is an excellent energy food. In fact, it's one of the best energy foods you can serve. Now, that's mighty important these busy wartime days. Second, Parquet margarine is a reliable food source of vitamin A. In fact, every pound contains 9,000 units of this essential vitamin the whole year round. Now, that's important, too, because vitamin A is so necessary to good health. And, incidentally, Parquet is wonderfully good tasting. It's the margarine that tastes so good. So get acquainted with delicious, economical Parquet margarine. Ask your food dealer tomorrow for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y. Parquet margarine, made by Kraft. Well, now let's join our friend, the Great Gildersleeve. After a hard day at the water department, he comes trudging home, shakes the snow from his collar, stamps his feet on the doormat, opens the front door, and is greeted by a warm smell that can mean only one thing.
Cabbage. Well, where there's cabbage, there may be corned beef. Leroy! Oh! You're going to break your neck one of these days.
No, I won't.
Well, I'm going to break mine. Is that your sled out on the sidewalk?
Yeah, that's funny. I was just going to put it away.
Yeah, that's funny. I was just going to suggest that.
Judge Hooker was here a few minutes ago. He left something for you.
Oh, he did, eh? What did he want?
Nothing. He just left it and said, here, maybe this'll shut your uncle up.
Yeah. Huh? What did he leave?
A gas mask.
So they finally got around to the gas masks, eh? I've been after Hooker for months to get some action on that. A fine head warden he is. All he needs is a head. They expect us to fight a war with armbands? Where is the thing?
Right in here on the sofa.
Oh, well, let's have a look at it. Oh, I see you've already had a look at it.
Oh, I didn't.
Probably broken it. That's not a toy, Leroy.
Okay. Try it on, Unc.
Let's see. How do you get into this thing? Yeah, there. How do I look?
You never looked better.
Yes.
Here, take a look in the mirror.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Let's go out and show Bertie, huh? Come on out in the kitchen.
Can you see? Here, I'll open the door for you.
Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet child. Oh, what's that?
It's all right, Bertie. It's only me.
Oh, man. I thought they'd come for to carry me home.
Hey, Unc, put it on again and see if it works. See if you can smell the cabbage through it.
Oh, well, that's an idea.
You put that thing on again, Mr. Gildersleeve, and you're going to have to find a new cook, because I will have went.
Oh, it's nothing to be afraid of, Bertie. Here, you put it on.
Me?
Yes.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I just as soon stick my head in a lion's mouth.
Oh, come on, Bertie.
Leroy, you get away from me with that. Go on now. Get out of here. I got things to do. Got to sweep up this mess.
Yeah, come on, Leroy. I think we better leave Bertie alone.
Ain't going to have people coming in my kitchen with no gas mask. My cooking ain't that bad.
Well, Uncle Mort, you beat me home.
Hello, Marjorie. I didn't hear you come in.
It's still snowing. Leroy, I nearly fell over your sled out in front.
Well, why don't you look where you're going?
Young man, I told you to put that away.
Oh, just going to.
Well, just do it.
How's the new secretary, Uncle Mort?
Secretary, she'll never do. I'm going to have to let her go. Bessie, she drives me crazy.
Oh, that's too bad. Say, we had a little excitement at the plant today.
Excitement? Really? What happened?
We had a fire.
No kidding. Did the engines come?
Yes, but it didn't amount to much. The fire was out by the time they got there.
Wait a minute. Where did this fire start?
In the shipping room, in a pile of crates.
What time did it happen?
Oh, it must have been around 12:30. The alarm rang while we were at lunch.
While everybody was out of the way, eh? Were the police called in on this?
I don't know. I didn't even see the fire. Some of the boys told me about it afterwards.
So, they didn't even call the police.
Hey, Unc, do you think it was a firebug?
I have my own ideas of what it was. But I'll tell you one thing. By George, it's about time this town woke up.
Woke up to what?
To the danger. With this arms plant here, anything might happen.
Oh, but Uncle Mort, it was only a very small fire. You don't think it was...
I don't say it was, but it could have been.
What?
Sabotage.
Oh, boy.
I've been expecting something like this. Give me my coat.
Where are you going, Uncle Mort?
Now, maybe they'll listen to me. Give me my hat.
Here, what are you going to do, Unc?
Give me my galoshes.
Uncle Mort, you be careful.
Give me my mittens.
Unc, wait a minute and I'll get you my secret decoder.
No time. All I can say is it's lucky there's one man in this town who's got his eyes open.
Unc, look out! The sled!
Sabotage. Good evening, Mrs. Grubly. Can't stop to talk. I got to see Judge Hooker about the sabotage.
Sabotage, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yeah, fire in the arms plant just this morning. What else could it be but sabotage?
Well, now I wonder. I hear a trolley jumped the track on State Street this afternoon.
Sabotage, Mrs. Grubly, sabotage. Good evening, Mr. Jackson. Terrible about the sabotage, isn't it? Fire in the arms plant, State Street trolley, jumped the track. It's everywhere.
Well, now I'm beginning to understand what's going on around here. For the last 2 days, somebody's stolen my morning paper.
Sabotage, Jackson, sabotage. Have you heard about the sabotage, Mrs. Plotnick? Arms plant burned down, trolleys all off the track, and some fiend is stealing newspapers.
That's terrible. And have you noticed what a cold winter they're having?
Sabotage, Mrs. Plotnick, sabotage.
Well, hello, Gildersleeve. Come in. Wipe your feet first.
We haven't got a moment to lose, Judge.
Why, what's up?
You're in charge of civilian defense here. What are you doing about it?
What do you mean?
You heard about the fire down at the plant?
Yes.
Sabotage, Hooker, as sure as I'm standing here.
Now, listen, Gildy, that fire was a plain accident. It was thoroughly investigated by the police.
The police? Hooker, this is war. Would you use a bean shooter to sink a battleship?
Nix, Gildy, nix. There's someone in the parlor. They hear you.
I don't care who hears me. The police department in this town is no good, and you know it.
Gildy, please.
Well, they couldn't find a spy in a bathtub.
Gildersleeve.
I'll handle this, Judge.
Oh, hello, Chief.
Mr. Gildersleeve, as chief of police in this town, I don't have to take any talk like that from a water commissioner.
Just a minute now.
Let me explain something to you, Gildersleeve. The dumb cops in this town aren't so dumb. We're keeping pretty close tab on what goes on, who goes where, and why. It's nervous guys like you that make trouble for us.
I'm not nervous.
Going around alarming everybody. Who do you think you are, Paul Revere? I've got my hands full now denying this thing.
Denying? Well, I'm sorry, Chief. I thought that...
It's very important now for people to keep calm.
Yeah.
And as an influential citizen, you should help them. You're a leader in this town, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, you think so, Chief?
Well, I hear you're making addresses now and then. People look up to you for guidance.
Well, I try to do what I can.
So at a time like this, you must try to calm people, not get them excited.
Calm, huh? And maybe you're right, Chief. Maybe I had it wrong.
Certainly.
Well, Judge, I haven't got a moment to lose.
Where are you going?
I'm going out and calm people. So long. Marjorie!
She's gone out, Unc. Oh, hello, Mrs. Ransom.
Hello, Leroy. Your uncle just came over and kidnapped me.
Yeah. Leroy, go and get Bertie, will you? Tell her Mrs. Ransom will be spending the night with us.
But why, Throckmorton? Why are you being so mysterious?
I just don't want you staying over there in that house all alone, that's all. Leroy, don't stand there staring. I told you to go get Bertie.
Bertie!
And don't whistle. You want to scare the life out of people?
What's that? What happened?
Nothing happened, Bertie. Be calm. Everybody be calm. Mrs. Ransom is spending the night with us, Bertie. You think we can find a place for her?
Oh, why, sure. I'll put her in a room with Miss Marjorie, if that's all right.
Well, I hope I won't be too much trouble to y'all.
No trouble. I'll go right up and make the other bed, so it'll be all ready.
Leroy, why don't you go up and help Bertie make the bed?
Oh, I don't need no help.
Oh, she don't need no help.
Yeah, oh. Well, come on in the living room, Leela.
Yeah, come on in. Make yourself at home.
I'll be the host here, Leroy. Have you done your homework?
Yep, I did it all this afternoon.
Oh. Well, it's time for you to go upstairs and take a bath.
But I took a bath, Unc.
When?
Yesterday.
I thought so. Go right upstairs.
But, Unc.
Don't argue with me. You're filthy. I want you to take a bath.
Okay. If you want to get rid of me, why don't you just say so? I can take a hint.
Good night, Leroy.
Good night.
Sleep tight.
Yeah.
I think he's so cute.
Yeah.
Now, Throckmorton, what are you being so mysterious about?
Leela, I want you to be calm. You mustn't be alarmed.
I'm not alarmed, Throckmorton.
Well, don't be. Whatever happens, don't worry, because nothing is going to happen.
Throckmorton, hold my hand.
Remember, I'm always near you, Leela. Day or night, I can be at your side in 5 minutes. 4 minutes. So be calm.
Throckmorton, you're hiding something.
Now, don't get excited, honey. There was a little trouble down at the arms plant today. Nothing much, but it looked like sabotage.
Oh, hold me close, Throckmorton.
There now. Feel better?
Oh, much. Tell me, what is sabotage?
Well, perhaps it's better that you don't know. But where there's sabotage, there's usually a saboteur.
And where there's Sabu, there's usually an elephant picture.
Leroy, I told you to go up and take a bath.
I was just going on.
That darn kid, Sabu. I've got to do something about him. Let's see. Where were we now?
You were over here, remember?
Oh, yes.
Go on. Tell me all about whatever it was.
Yes. What was I going to say? Funny, it's gone completely out of my mind now.
Well, tell me about something else then. I love it when you tell me about things.
You do?
Yes, I love you when you get serious.
Leela, seriously,
Yes, Throckmorton.
we've been engaged quite a while now.
3 whole weeks.
Leela, tell me, do you believe in long engagements?
Oh,
Excuse me, telephone. Be right back. Throckmorton P. Gildersleeve.
Mr. Gildersleeve, Charlie Anderson out the waterworks.
Oh, hello, Uncle Charlie. How's everything out there?
Everything's peachy. The dad-blame snifter valve is jammed and the dad-blame whatchamacallit stopped the whole dad-blame pump. Won't be any water till they get it fixed.
Oh, my goodness. No water, eh? Well, how long will that take?
You tell me. I can't fix a pump without parts, can I?
Yes, well...
All I got to say is if I'm going to be super and goldarn tending to this goldarn waterworks, I got to have a little cooperation, goldarn it.
All right, Charlie, keep your shirt on. What do you need?
I need a snifter valve. What do you think I need? That's what's busted, ain't it?
All right. What's the nearest place we can get one of those things? I'll go myself if I have to.
Well, you might be able to pick one up over to Grafton. Honeywell Supply Company there, if you can get the fellow to open up.
I'll run right over. What is it you want now?
A snifter valve, goldarn it.
Snifter valve, huh? Okay. And Charlie.
Yes?
Don't say a word about this to anybody till I've had a chance to investigate it. It may be sabotage.
How's that?
It may be sabotage.
Maybe what?
Dirty work.
My goldarn it.
Leela, something has come up.
What?
Would you be game to drive over to Grafton with me tonight?
Oh, Throckmorton, I'd go anywhere with you.
Maybe midnight before we get there.
I don't care.
We'll have to get the fellow out of bed.
Oh, Throckmorton, this is so romantic.
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, you know, I've always had a secret longing to elope.
Elope? I was just going over to Grafton for snifter valve.
Throckmorton Gildersleeve.
Now, Leela?
You deliberately let me on.
Leela, I did not.
You did too.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few seconds. You know, it's just natural that when a food is particularly good, lots of people want it. Well, that certainly is the case with Parquet Margarine, Kraft's delicious, nutritious spread for bread. And it explains why sometimes you may find your food dealer is temporarily out of Parquet Margarine. The fact is, Kraft is doing everything possible to keep dealers supplied. But so many of you have discovered Parquet's delicious goodness, so many of you are asking for Parquet these days that, well, some dealers just can't keep up with the demand. So it's a good thing to watch your dealer's stock. Buy Parquet whenever you can. No doubt about it, Parquet Margarine is well worth waiting for if your dealer should happen to be temporarily out. It's such a delicious spread for bread, so nutritious, too, providing food energy and important vitamin A. So always watch for, always ask for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y. Parquet Margarine made by Kraft. Let's return now to the great Gildersleeve and his one-man crusade to save Summerfield from an unknown enemy. Last night, he drove 30 miles to Grafton for a new part to repair the pump at the waterworks, which may explain why he's a little late in arriving at the office this morning. But his new secretary is there and already hard at work.
Hello? Are you still there, Mabel? Well, so he said, what do you want to do? So I said, I don't know. What do you want to do? So he said, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, you know, it could have gone on like that all night. So I said, let's go to the movies. So we went to I think the big boy's coming. I'll call you back, Mabel.
Good morning, Bessie.
Good morning, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Any calls?
About 1 million, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Any complaints?
Oh, yes, they're all complaints.
Don't be so happy about it. This may be very bad for me, very bad.
They all say there's no water.
I know that. Puts me in a very difficult position. Did you tell them what I told you?
Yes, sir. There's been a temporary interruption in the service owing to circumstances
Yes,
beyond our
all right.
control.
I wrote it. I ought to know what it is. No word from Judge Hooker?
No, sir. Were you expecting?
Yes, I asked him and the chief of police to drop over. I'm holding an investigation of that affair at the waterworks last night.
Oh, that reminds me, Mr. Gildersleeve.
What?
I turned on the water at my house this morning and nothing came out.
Nothing came hello, Judge.
What is it now, Gildy? This is a busy morning for me.
Yeah, what's this all about?
Step into my private office, will you, gentlemen? Miss, if you there, Bessie. When Uncle Charlie turns up, send him right in, will you?
Your Uncle Charlie.
Charlie Anderson, the superintendent at the waterworks. My Uncle Charlie. Cigar, gentlemen. Judge?
No, thanks.
Chief?
Never smoke before lunch.
Well, gentlemen, now perhaps you listen to me. Last night, I tried to call your attention to an act of sabotage.
Gildersleeve, are you still harping on that?
Chief, I take exception to that word, harp.
Listen, instead of telling me how to run my department, why don't you learn how to run your own? I got up this morning and there was no water.
Same at my house. I couldn't shave. Couldn't make any coffee.
And do you know why there was no water?
I suppose you think it was sabotage.
It's as plain as the nose on your face. Come in, Uncle Charlie.
But, Gildy, what makes you think...
I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Ask Charlie Anderson here. Charlie was there when it happened.
What's that, God darn it?
Yes, Charlie. I want you to tell these two gentlemen in your own words just what happened at the waterworks last night.
Why the dad blame...
Wait a minute. We're going to conduct an investigation here. Let's be orderly about it. Your name is Charlie Anderson, is it not?
You know darn well it is.
I know. Just customary to ask. Where do you live?
What's the matter with him? He knows where I live. God darn, he knows as well as I do.
Yes, I know. That's for the record, Charlie. Now, answer the judge's question, please.
Why, God darn it, I live next to Fink's garage. Right where I've lived for 23 years. God darn it.
Perhaps you'd better let me interrogate the witness, Judge. Charlie, what went wrong out at the pumping station last night?
Holy cow, you was out there. You seen it with your own eyes.
I know it, but tell these gentlemen.
The dad blame snifter valve busted. That's what you want to know?
Tell us more about it, Charlie. What sort of a pump do you operate out there?
Well, it's a vertical triple expansion crank and flywheel pumping engine with an independent superheater, mechanical stoking. It does about 20 RPMs with 175 pounds.
Whoa!
Well, you ask, God darn it.
Tell me, Charlie.
Jeepers.
Yes. Yes, take it easy, Charlie. Now tell us, about this incident to the snifter valve, now think carefully before you answer this. Do you think it might have been sabotage?
Sabotage, my eye. That valve was living on borrowed time. I told Flanagan, I told him 2 years ago when he was commissioner she was going to blow. Told him right to his face, and gol darn it, she blowed.
You're a witness, Gildy.
Now, look here, Judge. You got Charlie all confused.
Confused my neck.
You stay out of this. You listen to me, Gates. I demand adequate protection out there at that reservoir, and I intend to get it.
We can't be guarding every dog kennel and fire hydrant in town, Gildersleeve. We haven't got enough men. If you want your little duck pond guarded, you'll have to guard it yourself.
All right, Judge. If the police won't help us, this is a job for civilian defense. It's up to you as head warden to appoint a volunteer guard.
All right, Gildy, I'll do that.
There's no time to lose. I want you to appoint somebody to stand guard out there tonight.
All right, Gildy, I appoint you.
Why, God darn it!
And don't you let me catch you napping either. Come on.
Leroy! Leroy!
He's down in the cellar, Uncle Mort.
Oh, what's he doing down there, Marjorie?
I don't know for sure, but it smells like chemistry. Anything I can do for you?
No, thank you, my dear. Oh, wait a minute. Have you seen my shotgun shells anywhere?
No, I haven't.
I'll bet Leroy is responsible for that, too.
Hi,
Young man, where is my helmet?
Helmet? What helmet?
What helmet? I suppose I've got thousands of helmets. Sure. I've got football helmets, diving helmets, King Arthur helmets. Where is my air raid helmet?
Oh, that. Don't get excited, Unc. It's up in my room.
What's it there for?
Nothing.
Nothing?
He's keeping a turtle in it. I am not. He died.
I'll settle that with you tomorrow. Now, where are my shotgun shells?
I know where they are, Mr. Gildersleeve. In the box with your collar button.
There's only one in there.
That's all there are, Unc. Don't you remember when we went duck hunting and the P-38s came by and you used
Never mind.
Do you remember now?
Never mind. Go get my helmet, please.
Okay, Unc.
You ain't going hunting tonight, is you, Mr. Gildersleeve?
No, Bertie. This is not duck hunting.
A night like tonight is cold enough to shoot a polar bear.
Here you are, Unc.
Thank you, Leroy. No, Bertie. I'm not hunting polar bears tonight. I'm hunting saboteurs.
Oh, boy. Can I go along?
No, Leroy.
Are you really going to shoot somebody, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I hope not, Bertie. But if necessary... Oh, quiet you. I'm going to guard the reservoir.
Oh, gee, Unc, can't I go along?
No, my boy. I'll have a man with me to share the responsibility.
Who?
Well, I don't know yet. Hooker will send somebody out. Suppose you bring down my shotgun. But don't load it, Leroy. I'm going next door for a word with Mrs. Ransom.
I thought she was sore at you, Unc, from last night.
Leroy, I don't like the word sore, meaning angry. And Mrs. Ransom is not angry. Go get my shotgun and mind your own business.
Okay, Unc.
I wonder if she is sore. I mean angry. She can't be. Not when I'm going out to defend the city against sabotage. Not on a cold night like this.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Leela.
I trust you enjoyed a pleasant ride last night, looking for a sniffling Val.
Leela, I'm going away. I'm going to stand guard duty tonight out at the reservoir. I'm going to carry a gun, Leela. It'll be dangerous. I thought maybe you might have something you wanted to say to a man who was going to risk his neck to defend your water supply.
Yes, I have. Good night, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh! 9, 10, 11. 11 o'clock and all's well at the waterworks. I say it's 11 o'clock. Are you asleep?
No, Mr. Gildersleeve. I wish I were.
Yes. Well, you might as well be, Peavy, for the company you've been to me.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve, but I'm cold. Couldn't we call it a night and go home?
No. We've a duty to perform here, and we're going to do it.
Well, that's Mr. Gildersleeve, if you insist.
It's kind of lonely out here, isn't it?
And cold.
All right, it's cold, but it's lonely, too.
Yes, we couldn't go home.
No.
No.
Peavy, when you left your house tonight, did Mrs. Peavy speak to you?
Yes, we usually exchange a word or two when either of us is going anywhere. Helps keep things straight.
Yes. Leela wasn't speaking to me tonight.
Well, Mrs. Peavy and I understand each other pretty well by now, I guess.
Tell me, what did she say to you?
When?
When you left the house. Did she say anything in particular?
Yes, she did. She told me to be sure and be quiet when I came in. Mr. Gildersleeve, may I ask a question?
Oh, certainly. Go ahead, Peavy.
What are we doing out here? What are we waiting for?
Sabotage, Peavy. I told you that.
But how can anyone sabotage the water when the water is frozen?
They could chop a hole in the ice.
Yes, I guess they could.
Or they could break into the pump house and do something to the machinery.
Yes, I guess they could.
Or they could simply dynamite the whole business and blow the place to bits. And you and me with it.
Oh, dear.
I don't say they will, Peavy. Not tonight, anyway.
Well, that's good. I don't expect to be here every night.
Well, I guess it's time to take another look at the pump house.
Yes, it's warm in there.
Yes, come on.
Shall I bring my gun?
Gun? No. For the last time, Peavy, we're going to take no chances on your grandfather's muzzle loader.
Mr. Gildersleeve, can't I just bring it?
Well, all right, if it'll make you any happier. If there's any shooting to be done, my shotgun will take care of it. Remember that. Come on.
I really can't remember when I've been so cold.
Oh, stop complaining about the cold, Peavy. Think of Valley Forge.
I've been thinking of it for quite a while. It wouldn't be time to go home yet.
No.
No. Mr. Gildersleeve, do you hear something?
Of course I do. By George, I hear a car.
Yeah, that's what I hear, too.
I can see lights. They're coming this way. Look, it stopped down there near the gate. You see it?
Yes, I do.
It's a saboteur. Peavy, it's a lucky thing we came here tonight.
No, I wouldn't say that.
He's getting out of the car. He's carrying something.
Do you think it's a bomb, Mr. Gildersleeve?
What else could it be? I'll give him a hail. Saboteur, stop where you are. We got you covered.
He isn't stopping. Maybe he can't hear us.
Yeah, he'll hear us. I'll fire a shot over his head. That'll stop him. Here goes. Yep, misfire. Shell was pretty old.
Have you got another?
No.
Then I'll use Grandpa's gun.
For goodness sake, Peavy, is it loaded?
Oh, yes. Grandpa was always ready for anything. I'd stand back if I were you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Don't forget to aim over his head.
All right.
Oh, my goodness, you hit him.
I didn't aim anywhere near him.
Well, he's down. Come on. If he's unconscious, we can capture him. Hey, it's a woman, Peavy.
Oh, Throckmorton.
Leela, Peavy, you shot my fiancée.
Well, no, I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Leela, speak to me. Speak to me, Leela. Are you shot?
No, Throckmorton, I reckon I just fainted, but... Oh, I declare, you just about scared the life out of me.
Oh, thank goodness.
I must say it's a little surprising to have my own fiancé shoot at me after I came all the way out here just to bring you some hot coffee.
I didn't shoot at you, Leela. Peavy did the shooting.
Well, I didn't know it was coffee, Mrs. Ransom.
Leela, what in the world were you thinking of anyway? What are you doing out here?
Oh, Throckmorton, I was so ashamed letting you go off like that without even kissing you goodbye.
Leela, you're wonderful.
Then you forgive me?
Forgive you? The question is, do you forgive me?
Oh, yes, Throckmorton. Goodness, how could I resist you in your air raid helmet and all?
Leela, let's make a vow. Let's make a vow that we'll never let anything come between us again.
Not even a sniffling vow?
Yeah, nothing. Is it a bargain?
It's a bargain, but it's not legal, you know, without a seal.
Seal?
The law says you have to seal it with a kiss.
You little saboteur.
Darling.
Mr. Gildersleeve, would you like a little hot coffee to warm you up?
Oh, go home, Peavy. Well, folks, I guess I got a little excited there. The chief is right. These amateur spy hunts usually turn out to be a lot of nonsense. But there is one kind of sabotage that's a constant danger to this country and to all of us, especially our children. And it's something we can all help to fight. That's infantile paralysis. There's a drive on against it right now, and we can help it along by sending our dimes and dollars to the President of the White House. Remember, war breeds epidemics. Let's not get one started here. Good night, everybody.
Speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company, inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Ladies, your food dealer has a wonderful product that gives you a grand-tasting macaroni and cheese dish in less time than you'd believe possible. Just 7 minutes cooking time, to be exact. Kraft Dinner is the name. But let me tell you why this Kraft Dinner macaroni and cheese is so quickly prepared. You see, the macaroni in a package of Kraft Dinner is a very special kind. It cooks up fluffy and tender in only 7 minutes. Then, too, the Kraft Dinner package contains an envelope of Kraft Grated. You sprinkle Kraft Grated on the fluffy macaroni, stirring its cheese goodness through and through. There, your Kraft Dinner macaroni and cheese is ready, and what a grand-tasting dish it is. Economical, too. One package serves 4, costs just a few cents a serving. Try Kraft Dinner soon. And if you can, buy Kraft Dinner early in the week. That will help your dealer with his supply problem. This program reached you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.